We started the Jennifer Says project after having a meeting as a team to decide what our future films were going to be or film for the coming year. And we did discuss a major production with lots of young people taking part, but with the enthusiasm we had, we decided to try what was to be a small casted short film that wasn't going to dominate our lives.
The idea worried me slightly due to the nature and the content of Jennifer Says. We wasn't quite sure whether we'd get parental permission for the girls to be involved, but as it happens we didn't have any problems with that at all. And the other thing that worried me slightly was the acting. It was going to be a real challenge for the girls, and as it happens I was really pleasantly surprised by the girls. The acting was absolutely superb. After initial discussions with Steve, we started to work on the practicalities of the film, finding cast, finding crew, the locations, the props, and all the other things that make up the production.
We had problems finding the correct location. There's not many places locally that resemble the inside of a Victorian or Edwardian mental asylum. Luckily our local school was good enough, and it still required a lot of work though to get it to look correct.
Once Steve and I had settled on the location, we went about turning a very large room into a small room, and for that what we had to do is we had to make a false wall, and we used some stage flats and a stage door for the wall. We had to make up some beds, we had to put sort of bars on the windows as well, so we had quite a bit to make to turn the room into a hospital. Once the preparation and rehearsals are over, the next stage really is to turn each line of the script into a camera angle, and we do this by using storyboards. This is really mainly for my reference as cameraman, because on the day there's lots of angle changes, and there's lots of scene changes, lots of script changes. It's very hard to keep everything in your head, so it just serves as a memory reference for me, really.
We always rehearse quite intensely with young people before we do filming. They do need to be familiar with what they're doing, no matter how talented. They're not at the age that we were working with able to improvise on the day. So we do rehearse quite hard, and we rehearse movement a lot, as well as just rehearsing the lines, and also developing the characters themselves. When we arrive at our location to begin filming, we have a set pattern where certain members of the team are rigging sound, certain members of the team are rigging the camera work and the cranes and the tracks and whatever. Others muck in to get the set dressed and the scenery built and the props in. The makeup and costume ladies generally take the cast away during this period to get them made up and dressed. And then we begin what we call a technical rehearsal, which is sound checking and angles for camera, etc. Then we move into the actual filming of the shots.
I think we planned for Jennifer Says to take actually 4 days of filming, but I think we used 12 in total. We had some real major continuity problems that we had to sort out, and then we decided to refilm the end because we weren't happy with that. And then once we'd done that, we weren't happy with the long dialogue scene, so we introduced some flashbacks, and so it went on like that really. The special effects were fairly easy. The sick was toffee flavoured porridge, which looked very realistic, and I think it made most of the cast and the crew ill just sort of watching. Blood was also very realistic. We used some quite expensive stage blood. The only problem with that was aiming it in the right direction. And I guess the hardest part really was getting the end fight sequence right. We filmed it once and we edited it, and we didn't think it was violent or rough enough, so we decided to film it again. And in doing so, it was quite difficult to get the girls to be rough with each other without hurting each other. Once the filming is complete, we start the long process of editing, looking through the hours and hours of tape, copying all the good takes into the computer, and then sort of assembling them in some kind of order that sort of matches the script. And then we sort of fine-tune that, and once we're happy with that, what we do is we take off the sound from the computer, and we remix it and add some sound effects and the music, and then we put it all back into the computer, hopefully in time.
When we've finished filming the scenes and Darren begins editing, he usually invites me over to have a look at what he's doing. Although I don't sit in on all of his editing, I do find it a real, one of the most interesting parts of the filming is the editing, and I do really enjoy seeing how he puts it together. And on occasion, if I put my opinion in, it sometimes gives Darren another angle to look at what we're doing.
As long as you get good shots and good angles, then the editing process is fairly painless, although time-consuming. The major sort of headaches start to come when actors miss their marks, or they use a different hand to the previous take and things like that. I guess the major headache for me in Jennifer Says was the long 3-minute dialogue from Amy, who plays Emily. Not only was it visually boring, but it was just very difficult to film.
When I write the music for a film production, I like to have an overall feel for the ambience of the film. Is it a comedy? Is it a serious piece of drama? Is it a musical? Is it a documentary? This was very much a jagged, discordant visual film of clashing personalities and clashing morals, and therefore the music had to match that.
Do we ever have any problems? Never.
Cameraman fell over.
Was that my chocolate? Yeah, but it was in the way.
One day.
Can I have another one like Lizzie Pleasy? Was it Lizzie Pleasy?
Doopsie.
I'm sorry. Wait, see, you gave me a key. I forgot. You had to film it.
I can't do this, Darren!
1, 2, 3, go.
Are you ready? Up 1, 2, 3.
Do you knows me orders, Emily? Me Emily. Sorry.
What's so funny? Force feeding the lunatic? You evil little blood-sucking witch.
Oh! Christ almighty!
Come back, Jennifer!
She escaped.
people will like it. It's difficult to say. It's not a nice film in any way. You don't go away thinking, oh yeah, that was a nice film to watch. But I hope people will think that it was a good story and well acted and well put together. I've really enjoyed making it. It's been really interesting to work on something different and sort of a really refreshing change.
The final result I am really pleased with. As with everything, Darren as well, we would like to think ourselves perfectionists, and we would look at it and say, well, we could improve on this. But every film project we take on and we work on is a learning curve, and we hope that the following ones will benefit from the previous ones. But really, I think for the budget and the time we had, it couldn't have been any better.
I really enjoyed working with the cast and the crew, and I really hope that they enjoyed making it as much as I did.